Sure.
Coming up on ECG, Netflix reboots Reboot.
Marvel's starting over.
An outbreak is about to hit Rainbow Six Siege.
Will Metal Gear survive?
That was good phrasing. All this and more coming up on the East Coast Geek Podcast. Welcome to episode 125 of the East Coast Geek Podcast for Friday, March 2nd, 2018, where we bring you all the latest news in comics, movies, and gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and it's been a while since I used this mixer board. That's why the weird faces. With me, as always, is Opu. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty okay.
I'm out of practice. Things are working very well on the mixer side, and I don't know why. Like,
well, that's what happens when we neglect our duties to play.
Like,
another stress test.
I'm still working in like the audio levels because they're all so high now, and I don't know why. And the kids aren't around to blame for hitting the switches and knobs and stuff. So trying to keep it down.
Obviously, it was the pets.
I mean, I can only agree. They're home without any supervision for a few hours a day, so
exactly
any kind of madness could happen. The cat could let themselves downstairs and come mess with stuff, and then go back upstairs and lock the door.
I mean, you can't deny it. It's like Schrodinger's cat, right?
Schrodinger's cat. Yeah, it's alive and dead.
It's spelled Schrodinger.
What?
Dinger.
I got it.
Yeah.
But I said that I didn't even say his name. I said, yeah, it's both alive and dead before you open the box. I was agreeing.
Oh.
Sorry. I didn't mean to confuse you there.
The doors both open and close until you observe it.
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? I mean, we could keep going on this.
So
how many times can we get a Batman reboot?
What if there's somebody there, but they're deaf?
I can't hear you. Hello?
Did you lose me?
No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's go ahead.
Well, the thing is, we were having so many technical issues before, and it's like it could very really happen.
No, everything's working great, and I don't understand why. All right.
So yeah, I was pretty busy this week. I watched the movie, most of it.
You watched a movie? You're gonna let me borrow it, right?
Oh yeah, I'll totally let you borrow it. Just come on by.
I want to see it. Why don't you tell the nice folks at home what you watched?
Yeah, it was Murder on the Orient Express, the 2017 version, not the 1974 version.
When I was younger, that was one of the books I read. I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan.
She is absolutely amazing, and aside from, there's like three. Well, okay, so they did do some race lifting for some characters, but they do acknowledge that hey, in the 1910s or 20s. A African American doctor would be a really weird thing. So they do kind of acknowledge it in the movie, and it kind of plays into the whodunit aspect of the film. I'm not going to give away the plot. They also put in a couple more action scenes because Hercules Poirot, as they call him in the movie. They call him that in the movie a couple of times.
No!
Somebody will come up to him and they'll be like, I know you. You're Hercules Poirot. And he goes, Hercule Poirot. I did not chase lions or whatever he said. I forget exactly what he said.
So
it's kind of a running gag.
So that kind of sucks. I don't like that.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
Are you sure?
No, it is. Trust me, you'll have to see it. But no, they're not like doing it out of accident. Like the people just don't know how to pronounce his name, and he corrects them.
Okay.
So what else was there? There was something else, and they kind of changed the ending a little bit, but against the book as opposed to the 1974 version and this one, ending is basically kind of the same on reactions and stuff.
Right.
But otherwise, they're both different from how people reacted in the book.
So I like Kenneth Branagh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him as Hercule Poirot. And my problem with
he's
that is because I'm so used to seeing David Suchet as Hercule Poirot. He just has that look.
Yeah.
And so, he's probably, I wonder if he's portrayed him the longest. Because there's a long list of people. Yeah. Even Orson Welles portrayed him, which is really interesting. Tony Randall of The Odd Couple.
Mm-hmm. So you're right. He looks-wise, aside from the epic mustache, which is canon to the book, he's supposed to have a massive mustache, so big it's hard for him to eat soup and stuff.
Right.
And that was one of Agatha Christie's complaints when she first saw one of the adaptations, was the mustache wasn't big enough.
Right.
So Hercule Poirot is kind of, everybody calls him like a funny looking man. He is kind of egg shaped with a head.
Right.
He has a really black mustache and really black hair, but it's obviously dyed, and he's very embarrassed by it. And Sir Kenneth, who portrays him in this version, obviously has the very gray, like the dignified manes.
Right. Right.
He does not look egg shaped. He's even though he is supposed to be like an older gentleman, a retired police officer who's a private detective, he's very handsome.
Well, he's very handsome. Yeah, I was going to say very manly. Very handsome, definitely. Whereas, David Suchet's kind of like a, I don't want to call him a homely type person, but he doesn't have those pronounced features like Kenneth Branagh does. He
doesn't have like the stereotypical heroic features, is what you're, I guess, kind of saying.
Yeah, basically. I am very interested in seeing it, and I can't wait. I saw it on the shelves the other day, and I was like, man, it's another movie that I haven't seen yet, and I should have already. But
I definitely wish I'd seen it in theaters. It was really good.
Speaking of can't wait to see a movie, or should have gone to see a movie, we got some good news / bad news, and I haven't really looked forward to see what's on the schedule. But the Avengers Infinity War movie got its date moved up by a week, and I now feel really bad for every movie that thought that they were safe the week before the release of the Avengers movie that's going to just eat all the other ones alive. It got moved up seemingly as a theater play on Twitter at the request of Robert Downey Jr., which obviously was just a play on, but sure. I mean, but we can't be mad. We're getting it a week early. It's not like I'm going to get to go see it anyways.
I mean, but this is the first time they've done things like that on Twitter. Like, remember when the trailers leaked and they were like blaming it on Hydra and stuff?
Right. Oh yeah.
And then
what was that? Was that Civil War or was that Winter Soldier?
That was
right?
Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it absolutely tied into. So it could have been like either one. If they didn't later admit that it was a legitimate leak, it would have been better, because it kind of tied in with the publicity for that film.
Let's see what's on
really closely too.
Let's see what's on the list for the Animal Crackers with Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, and Danny DeVito.
Wait, Animal Crackers, as in like the Groucho Marx movie?
No, this is like
Isn't that a movie?
I don't know. This is a workaholic. This is an animated film. I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer. Traffic with Paula Patton, Missy Pyle, and William Fichtner. He's the guy that played the yard boss in The Whole Nine Yards.
Which one?
The new one, sorry. Also the awesome astronaut from Armageddon. And he's been in other stuff too. Plenty of other movies. I could keep naming them. Bad Samaritan with... Oh, this is a limited release. David Tennant and Robert Sheehan. Disobedience, Selfie Dead. Yeah, they didn't really screw anything up. The list goes on, but big names like Halle Berry, Daniel Craig, Mario Van Peebles is going to be in a movie, and William Fichtner has a second movie that's being released on the same day of the week. And that's interesting. He managed to get into 2 movies. And then there's that Avengers Infinity War, which should be awesome, hopefully. I'm hoping. That's classified as sci-fi. Is that weird?
What? Infinity Wars?
Yeah.
I mean, action sci-fi, but yeah, I mean, science fiction abounds in Marvel Comics.
I mean...
They don't have they don't have a classification as superhero though. You know.
Hey, Perry's here. Hey, Perry. Yeah, I know, and I'm not expecting superhero to be the title. I'm expecting something different than sci-fi. I mean, is Captain America: Civil War a sci-fi movie? I don't think classification's right there. I think they're only doing it because that movie involves aliens from outer space.
Well, I mean, but the thing, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. It's like, wait, how can we put this? Okay, so Captain America: Winter Soldier was like an espionage film first and a sci-fi film, superhero film second. But all the other ones would fall into sci-fi, like with the exception of Doctor Strange, which would be fantasy, modern fantasy.
Hey, I was closing out other pages and I came back to the Hercule Poirot one. David Suchet portrayed Poirot from 1989's original ITV series Agatha Christie's Poirot until June of 2013. That is impressive.
Yeah.
24
he
years.
even did, I think, if I remember correctly, they did some PC game adaptations of her works.
And he did that as well?
Orient Express, yes, and he voiced the characters. Because you weren't playing as Hercule Poirot, you were playing as another person. And it was like an alternate version where Hercule was too sick to leave his... because in the books, he does have like a stomach problem.
Oh, okay.
So you know, I mean, that's the interesting thing about him is that you know, unlike Sherlock Holmes, which is like he's perfect in just about everything. I mean, he's got a lot of character flaws, but like he's a physically powerful person. He's vastly intelligent. Hercule's very intelligent, but he's got his OCD. Then he's got to worry about his mustache and his looks.
Yeah.
Then he's out of shape and old, or getting older, and he's got health problems. So most of his stories are more like person to person overall, like adventure type stuff. I don't know.
All right, at the risk of continuing to make this the Poirot show, the other thing that's coming out for Marvel, Sneak Attack, by the way, because I only saw the trailer, I think last week we saw it. Jessica Jones will be on Netflix on Friday of next week, March 8th. Season 2. Are you excited?
I still haven't watched Defenders.
Oh, that's fine. It's that's the sad thing. Isn't sci-fi fantasy? Science fiction fantasy. Yeah, I can agree.
Thor was fantasy too.
Yeah, I know. That could have also qualified as science fiction though. Anyways, Jessica Jones season 2. Have you seen the trailer yet?
No, wait.
It's playing. It's playing on the banner on Netflix now, wherever you can actually see the banner.
I quickly avoid that stuff though. I'm on.
I know. It looks really good though. I had some issues with Jessica Jones before. It was really slow going for me, so I kind of lost it for a little bit. But I finally went back and finished it, and it quickly became one of my other favorites. So we don't talk about Iron Fist or. Well, Luke Cage was fine. I had no problem with Luke Cage.
I enjoyed Luke Cage, and I enjoyed Iron Fist for the most part. They just didn't understand what they wanted from that.
Well, not to mention they got an actor who didn't have the time, or they didn't know what they wanted to do when they were planning out the fights, so they gave it to him the last minute, so they looked really bad. If they would have thrown him into costume, it would have been so much easier. And it's fine. Yeah, and it's fine too because the Defenders, his fight scenes were great.
Oh, were they?
Compared to what they were in Iron Fist, they were a lot better. So they took their time and actually got it right in Defenders.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I keep trying to justify certain things in live action. Well, they don't have the budget that the Marvel films obviously have. And to show a full-powered Iron Fist, like they showed briefly, you got to see that black and white footage of one briefly. Like he would have had no challenge.
Right.
He would have been taking on the Marvel movie level villains, as opposed to, his basic attacks would be wiping people out, much less his chi-powered ones. Right.
It looks exciting. I'll give it that. It has some hooks in it that are kind of making me wonder what's going on. Luke shows back up. And I don't know who the villain is at this point. That's not something I know. But I can't wait to see what it is. And I'll find out next week when I binge it on Friday while I'm playing something else, I'm sure. All right, anything else in the banner before we move on? Now that's been 15 minutes of banter I thought was going to last 5. You bring up Hercule Poirot and you get me on a tear.
Well, then no.
Wasn't there a movie that they did recently that was called 10 Little Indians? There was another. That was an Agatha Christie one as well. Mm-hmm. That was a Poirot one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was recent.
I mean, that would be another remake.
Stop it! I'm Googling it. Get out of here.
Well, then I'm Googling, and then there were none. I think they remade that one recently.
It was at a... Oh, God. Movies.
Which I have that book, and I still haven't read it. It's on my to-do list. I have a big stack of books I've got.
Yeah, I guess not. That's weird. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, don't read the book title.
And then there were none?
Yes, and then there were none.
Yeah. It caught me off guard. It was a different time.
A different time, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into it then. The first thing we got, go ahead. You can take this one, because you're the comics expert.
Yeah, well...
I use that term loosely. How's that?
Yeah, I'm not an expert of anything. So, Marvel's fresh start. Marvel is planning a fresh start in 2018. Yay! Marvel has released a new promotional image and video announcing Marvel's fresh start starting in May. So this month, right? No, next month.
No, a couple of months.
In a couple of months.
The 5th month of the year, which is in
the 5th month.
3 months.
We're halfway there, right?
No, it's yes.
If my math is right.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yes. The video promises new series, new creative teams, new direction, and new beginnings.
Here's a picture.
Here's a picture. Can you see the picture? I hope you can see the picture. It's right here. It's in this area. The video. I can say, walking through these halls, I've never seen more enthusiasm and excitement for where Marvel Comics is going this year. Cebulski.
Is that mistyped?
The Russian guy, I don't know, I think so. Said, not since Marvel Now have we had such an overarching, line-wide change of talent on the Marvel Comics line. The promotional artwork shows several of Marvel's biggest characters. Notable among them is Thor, the original Odinson, which seems to have returned with a golden arm and a golden hammer to match.
Yay!
The thing is in the image, but no other members of the Fantastic Four. The original Hulk is featured, and his return has been teased in Avengers No Surrender. He's actually getting a comic called The Immortal Hulk. And the final splash page, which I've actually shared on my personal page, is of like a speech from Banner where he's talking about no matter what, the Hulk always comes back. And as you know, Banner's dead right now, or he was dead.
Spoilers.
And like well, it's been a couple of years, so hopefully everybody knows. So it shows like the Hulk's fingers coming through the ground or his arm coming through the ground. You know that cliched shot, but still, it's really cool. The Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes, who hasn't been seen since the Marvel Legacy one-shot, is also featured in the image. She-Hulk seems to have returned to her usual green self. Gambit and Jean Grey are both in the image representing the X-Men. Both characters are featured in X-Men Red, though Jean is the leader of that book. It's unclear if this could be a hint that Gambit is getting his own series, which I would have, if this had happened a couple of months ago, I'd say, oh, well, this is trying to tie into the
movie.
But we know where that's going. Absolutely nowhere.
Hopefully in the trash.
Now, Gambit comics have, I've read a few of them throughout the years, and they've usually been pretty cool. I've got one where he is having to deal with a magic tarot card set.
Nice.
And there's one cursed card in there that if you look at it, it causes boils and makes your eyes melt.
Oh God!
And so
that sounds terrible.
So he laid a trap for this woman, and she's trying to sacrifice him. And she rips open his shirt, and he had taped the card there. And she sees it,
nice.
And it does that to her. And she's like, "But how did you pick it out without hurting yourself?" And then it flashes back to showing Wolverine, and he's like, "Go through these cards." And Wolverine's handing it to him, and it's like his face is trying to heal, and he's like, "You're a piece of crap." Because
you know, I really liked Gambit in that terrible cartoon series that you don't like. His part, especially when he was competing.
Wait, which one? In the '90s version?
Yeah, I thought you didn't like that.
The '90s version. No, I don't like the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh, okay.
The X-Men cartoon from the '90s was absolutely amazing.
And him and Wolverine always going at it was great.
Oh yeah, remember that one scene where like bumps past Gambit, and Gambit pulls out a card and charges it.
Yeah.
And that Rogue or Jean comes behind him and like, "Stop that!" And he just throws it behind him and like harmlessly detonates.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
that was great. There's great things about that cartoon. I love that one. But
there was another great thing. Like Wolverine had come to bail Gambit out. He had called him, or his friend tried to call him. So he had it was dealing with basically him in Louisiana. And so Gambit got in a fight, and he had a friend that was psychic, kind of, but he had to use playing cards. And so he put down these cards. He's like, help me out. And they laid out in a number pattern, and he dialed the number. And so just as somebody came in there and started killing him, you see on the other line that Wolverine was on the other line. So he traces the call back, and he comes and saves Gambit. So it's a really cool series. And in order to make it look like all the X-Men were there, Gambit had stolen a bunch of their costumes over the years, and he dressed as it was great. He dressed as Cyclops, and he was throwing his cards at eye level, so it looked like optic blast. And he had painted Wolverine blue to look like the Beast, and then he put a tail on him. Yeah, yeah. And they were using fire extinguishers to make it look like Iceman had been there. It was great. Oh my god, it was a good series, dude.
All right. Well, what else we got in here about this? Or is that it?
Sorry about that little tangent, but if you can find that series in a trade paperback, go get it. It was great. So Gambit is currently appearing in Astonishing X-Men and the Rogue and Gambit miniseries, which I need to see if that's good. Wolverine, the original Logan, is also featured in the artwork, though not in his Wolverine costume. We already know that Marvel has big plans for the Hunt of Wolverine series, which should be kicking off soon, if not already. Also, Marvel has revealed a new Avengers team.
Next picture.
Avengers #1 comes with writer Jason Aaron and artist Ed Guinness, who I think I have some of his comics. I know I've got Ed Guinness's artwork around here somewhere.
So learning from my picture identification, is that Doc Strange at the top of that picture? With his hands out like this? And the red orb. It looks like him because he doesn't look like anybody else in there, and Captain Marvel's down there. That should be Doc Strange. I want to assume that's him, because it looks like everybody else now that I'm looking at the list. Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man are there, obviously. Black Panther. I'm spoiling this story, sorry.
Yep. So, okay. Avengers #1, blah, blah, blah. We'll reunite 3 core Avengers. Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. They'll be joined by returning Avengers, She-Hulk, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange, as well as the newcomer Ghost Rider. Doctor Strange will only be on the team for a limited time, and his spot is a rotating spot, which I think is pretty cool. I kind of liked it when they had more characters rotating in and out.
Well, you got to imagine they need it's like a Swiss Army knife. You can't always have all the tools on it all the time. You need to turn everything out every now and then to get a character rotation in. Because Marvel's so vast, and the number of people that have been involved with the Avengers at any level, and being able to pull anybody in, that would be the smart move. Especially because, new comic readers, they go out and they see, oh, here's Daredevil. I wonder if there's any videos on that. And all of a sudden you got 3 series to watch on Netflix. And, oh, wait, there's also the Defenders. They rotated somebody else that specifically fits that time. Who's another lesser-known character? What's his face up in Canada? Maybe they ever involve anybody from Alpha Flight or anything like that in the Avengers?
They've fought him a couple of times. I don't think they've ever had it
even better
on the Avengers team, but they've crossed paths. So are you?
Wolverine's part of the Avengers too.
Yeah, he's been part of the Fantastic Four too.
He was the Fantastic Fifth.
Well, no. So
I'm kidding. That
was the Hulk, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine were that Fantastic Four.
Oh, Different Fantastic Four, okay.
Yeah, so the other Fantastic Four got missing, and so they kind of bunched together to try to find them.
Oh, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And towards the end of that run of them being the Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom saved them.
That's how they should introduce. That's how they should introduce the Fantastic Four to the MCU. They get all four of those guys together and send them out to find the original Fantastic Four. And when they bring them back, they're like, "Oh, we're so glad you guys are back." And everybody else, but the rest of the Avengers, know that these guys actually existed as part of,
I don't know. I don't really, because I don't like the trope. Remember the new guy where they're like, "Oh, I've always known this guy." Well, where was he when you needed him like 15,000 times?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've been missing for so long, and all of a sudden, they need help from these guys, and they bring them back.
Well, the thing is, it would be different, but they haven't implied anything. They implied that like Captain America was the first of his kind ever at any level.
Yeah.
And if they had the Fantastic Four tied in as like government, then it still wouldn't make sense that S.H.I.E.L.D. of all people don't know about the Fantastic Four.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Allude that they know, but maybe the core team doesn't really know. You know what I mean?
Unless they had some really subtle Easter eggs in there previously. I don't know.
They wouldn't need to. You could just invent it as part of the canon.
No, I'm saying no retcons.
I'm not saying any retcons. You don't need a retcon. I'm not saying retcon. I'm saying these incredible people existed. S.H.I.E.L.D's known about them this whole time, but hasn't been able to locate them either, but have kept it on the back burner and didn't say anything about it until all of a sudden they have an extinction event that they need these guys, and they're like, "Listen, we haven't really been on the level with you. We've known about these guys. They really could have helped out with the Chitaris, but listen, we haven't been able to find them, and we need you to go find them because we really need their assistance." And then it's a rescue adventure. What have we said about Marvel? What have they been great at? Taking the superheroes and placing them in a situation that is a common one, like a bank job or a espionage story, stuff like that. They've always done such a great job with that. This one's a rescue job. And they're being held captive by Dr. Doom, who's wearing a sparkly face mask.
I don't know. I mean, there's potential.
You know what? Here, I was listening to a show this morning, and they were talking about the interesting thing about getting into and seeing Black Panther and seeing what an African country untouched by explorers and conquerors and showing what it's like. And they're like, right. But that is what makes Black Panther so great. And that is what makes, and I didn't know this until they were talking about it, that's what makes Dr. Doom so great, because technically, he's just a blogger when you're not dealing with everything else of his home country. Am I wrong? Or were they wrong?
No, wait, what are you talking about? He's a blogger.
Latveria, is it?
Yeah, he's in Latveria, but he wouldn't be a blogger.
No, I'm just saying, without having that rich history, the best they could do was make him a blogger, which is a really dumb move. Do the groundwork and try not to make Marvel money right out the gate. Actually establish.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand how difficult the Fantastic Four are to do. I don't know. They're
so fantastic.
All this stuff. That's not even that. It's like, what? Like, here's the thing. We are still in the space age, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, we just shot a car into space. Why can't we? Why are they trying to use the next dimensional thing? I mean, I can still understand that because it is in the Ultimate Comics. Like, there's as insane as their origin is, it's still totally legitimate. I mean, we still used a radioactive spider or whatever for Peter Parker, and it still totally works. And everybody's like, okay, because that's the great thing about movies and stories. If you say, hey, this guy got superpowers by being bitten by a radioactive spider, now he can do all this stuff. People are like, okay, let's see him do that stuff. But as long as you don't keep heaping on powers, now he shoots spiders from his fingertips. Okay, that's a little weird. Spiders don't shoot other spiders from their toe tips, but whatever, we can... now he's got heat ray vision or stuff like that.
What's your feeling on that, by the way? Which Spider-Man do you like? Do you like natural or mechanical ability Spider-Man?
Are you talking about with the web shooters?
Yeah. Do you prefer it to be natural in his arm, or do you prefer it to be an invention he made? Because
I like the invention because it shows his resourcefulness and his intelligence, which he's used. And that's almost as dangerous as his powers.
Right.
You know, because he is incredibly brilliant. The only thing is he doesn't have the resources of Stark or Reed or even Banner.
Right.
When Banner had resources. So he has to put together with like dollar store toys these amazing inventions and weaponry.
Which is not hard for a genius level character.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, when it shows him in like, he used his like school lab a lot. He uses his, when he gets into college and university, he uses those resources, which are, you know, expanded upon it. And then there's been a few times where he's asked to go hang out, you know, he's hung out with the Human Torch and he got to play with some of Reed's stuff a little bit. And then there was when Stark was kind of his mentor. And then he had to prove to Stark that he was smarter than Stark.
Even by undermining him. Yeah. All right. Anything else on this? Did you cover all the bullet points on this one?
Let's see.
Because like you said, I really agree that is really a cool idea. Have that spot as a rotating spot. Mm-hmm. But that also means that brings Ghost Rider to the front again.
Yeah, and since this is the there's two right now. There's two Ghost Riders kind of running. There's a cosmic level Ghost Rider, which is like the Punisher, and he's supposed to be a future version of the Punisher or something. I haven't really read up on it, and he acts really weird. Like he's like really goofy and constantly making jokes, and it feels like a weird character, especially for like the Ghost Rider, who's usually fairly serious.
And they have a lawyer on the team now. Isn't that normal? Isn't that what She-Hulk is? She's a lawyer.
Well, yeah, she's a defense attorney.
Right.
But I mean, like you have Tony Stark. He has all the lawyers that you need.
Yeah,
even when he's broke, he's still insanely rich.
I mean, agreed.
I mean, so we've got a general class captain. We've got a captain class captain. We've got a king. We've got a prince, a king, a super genius, a genius level surgeon and magician, a defense attorney with nearly infinite strength,
and an on fire dude with whip chains and a motorcycle.
Yeah, and a dude with a bike. No, like okay, so in the comics, Ghost Rider, when he can fully manifest the entire power of the Ghost Rider, he's more powerful than pretty much anybody. But it's very fine line when he can actually hit that level of power. Right. There's only been a couple times. There's one time where he nearly killed Doctor Strange when he was manifesting it. These are the ones I can recall off the top of my head. There's another time when he tried to fight the Hulk as just like the human channeling the Ghost Rider power.
Right.
And then when the Ghost Rider took over fully, Doctor Strange is like, well, this fight's over and the Hulk's about to be taken down. And he looks at the Hulk and he just turns around and walks away. And Reed's like, but you just said he's got the power of a god. Why is he not beating him? And Doctor Strange is like, because the Hulk's not wrong here. He's not the guilty one. We are. So the Ghost Rider's not going to stop him.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, and I can understand why, because Doctor Strange is such a powerful level, so it makes sense that he just rotates it. I mean, even compared to these other people.
Well, that's what I mean. That's like a utility slot. It's going to be that flavor of the week. Well, we need this hero for this arc, and then we need this one for the next one. But we can keep these constants here.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know, another the superhero squad, the cartoon actually did that too. They picked specific heroes, so they each got a day in the limelight.
That's good.
So to speak.
No, that works perfect.
So my last note here is Avengers will be the only Avengers title in the Marvel's fresh start. Thank goodness. Avengers will ship 18 issues a year, replacing the multiple series franchise of titles that included books like New Avengers, Secret Avengers, and Uncanny Avengers in the past. Thank goodness, because that was excessive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does even the most avid comic reader keep up with all those storylines? I mean, I'm not discounting their ability to keep up all those timelines, but after a while, it's got to be like tiresome.
It is exhausting. It's time consuming, and it's a financial burden. And here's the thing, and then they do like constant events lead into events and events, and then like there's like, oh well, you have to buy these 15 different books so you can follow this one single event as plus
Isn't that how they
book that's made just for the event.
Isn't that how they tied in like the Secret Wars stuff? Was every now and then there'd be an episode within one of the mainstay comics that ties into the Secret Wars stuff?
So what it would be is like Spider-Man Secret War or something like
right,
that. And
right.
So then you would get a couple of issues where he's dealing with the ramifications. Then you have the main secret, like he would be dealing with the ramifications by himself. Then you have like the main book where like everybody that's affected with it would be dealing with it together. But then it's just too much, and it's just too much to read. And when the quality isn't there, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is they're reducing. It's going to be quality over quantity now. I hope is because they were trying to just flood the market,
right?
But nobody was buying the stuff, and they were trying to shove it down comic book stores' throats by, hey, we just want 5 issues of this. Oh, well, you're getting 25 of them.
Yeah,
no,
right.
That's unfair to them. So,
right.
So it looks like I'm seeing a lot of positive stuff coming out.
Great. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the movies and TV show stuff. How's that sound? Sound great?
Yay!
Sounds great.
Yeah.
It's painful every time I listen to it, but I still gotta listen to it. All right, Reboot, The Guardian Code's official trailer for the Netflix. Is it a movie or a series? Series, right? Series. Yeah.
Did you watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer.
Yes, you watched the trailer.
My eyes bled for days after watching that trailer. It is so terrible. That needs to be an animated series completely. Don't really do the humans thing too much.
So let's before we say anything about the trailer and everything, let's talk about Reboot because it's been a while since any of these little chitlins here.
Did they release? Did you make that up?
What?
Did you make that up, or did they make that up?
Make what up?
Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad with an S.
You never heard of Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad? Google it while you Google that. You just don't worry your pretty little head. You Google that while I read this part.
Okay.
If you don't know Reboot, Reboot is a Canadian CGI animated action-adventure series that originally aired from 1994 to 2001. The series followed the adventures of a guardian named Bob and his companions, Enzo and Dot Matrix, as they worked to keep the computer system of mainframe safe from viruses known as Megabyte and Hexadecimal. It was the world's first ever half-hour, completely computer-animated TV series. And the thing is, at least until recently, its animation still held up against these days low budget CGI shows. So it was like the top quality. So let me give a couple of more things. So humans weren't even like they didn't know that humans existed in the original Reboot. What would come down is like this purple cube would come down. And it would be the game, and you would have to be inside the game to guard. This was one of the Guardian shelves, was to go in the game and win it for mainframe. If they did not win, then that section of mainframe would be destroyed, and any of the non-Guardians in there would be turned into like these little squids. I forget what they were called, or slimes. And then they would play against the player or the user. That the user was basically this Eldritch Abomination demigod, so it would sometimes send down updates, more weapons and stuff or whatever items for mainframe, and it also kind of destroyed it in ways. But man, it was a good series. It had a lot of dark themes, especially later on, and a lot of good humor. It was a great show. So first of all, let's stop here.
Okay.
Did you Google Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad?
I must have like totally like edited this out of my brain because I only ever really watched the Power Rangers first, and then because I kind of liked what they were doing on. I'm trying to remember if it was UPN or WB. Do you remember VR Troopers?
I remember VR Troopers.
I used to watch those two, but I remember, and in looking in this, Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yep.
And now I remember Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Yep. So
that's why I said, did you make this up? Because you couldn't have made up something this good, and I was right. It has the voices of Tim Curry. and Kath Soucie, whoever that is. I don't remember who that is.
So, the Superhuman Samurai Cyber School. There was a kid ended up getting sent to the internet because it was the 90s, and he would turn it into the superhuman that he was, or the superhero that he was making for a video game named Servo. Yeah, like Tom Servo.
Tom Servo's the best.
Like his design is like actually cool. I used to have a lot of toys. I had like a dragon toy, and then I had him. It was really cool. It looks terrible now, but it was cool then, kind of. I think I was the only kid that watched it. Anyways, so here's what's happening in Reboot the Guardian Code. 4 teenagers at Alan Turing High School are recruited by Vera, a virtual evolutionary recombinant avatar, to protect cyberspace. Like I said, here's the Cyber Squad plot. High school student Sam Collins is head of a band called Team Samurai. He is zapped with the power surge, disappears only to reappear with a strange device, which is unremovable. Blah, 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 blah. And he has to fight megaviruses, which is what they're doing in this Guardian Code trailer. And it doesn't look good. It's ugly. And then they bring like the Vera into real life as a schoolgirl, and none of those kids aren't immediately like that little girl's a robot. She's a robot or some kind of hologram thing or something.
It's absolutely it looks ridiculous, and the whole there is a lot of human stuff, and I don't like that. I remember watching Reboot. I remember getting up on Saturday morning to watch Reboot and Crow, and what are some other great ones from back then? Crow. He's a Cro-Magnon man.
I think I remember
Crow
that.
and the Dinosaurs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it was good. Yeah, it was talking about the extinction event, basically. It was a good show. I liked it. All right, it was a good cartoon. I was a kid back then, so. Yeah. But this Reboot was great. It's one of my favorites, and it hurts to see this. It really does.
I mean, it's like I don't know what they're thinking to do this. Like, Reboot was. They had the web space, they had the deep web stuff, they had viruses, they had everything. Like there was plenty of canon to expand it. You could have went to the Guardian School where they learned to become Guardians or whatever. Right. You could have had your high school kids there. Yeah. In the game, in the cyberspace world,
it would have been more natural. This is just it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So we'll still watch at least the first episode. See how terrible.
I'll probably give the first episode. Like I try to give the Stretch Armstrong a chance, but God, that was awful. Animation was just terrible. The plots are so predictable and bland and cliche. You know what? Now, sure, I do like that's on Netflix is Atomic Puppet. You know, it does some of the same cliched like kid plots, but it's animation smooth and brightly colored. The action's there, the humor's there.
Is that the one that you were talking about last time we did this?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah. Okay. Like the superhero gets turned into a hand puppet and only his fan.
I still haven't watched that. I like that idea.
it's ridiculous, right? And there's like a Wonder Woman / Thor character in there.
I think I said it last week, right? I watched all of Altered Carbon.
No, I don't. You said you watched most of it.
It is so good. I finished it. It is awesome.
I'll watch some of it tonight. Actually.
I also watched on Amazon Prime Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams.
I saw that. I've been meaning to look at it. So how is it?
So good. It is short stories. So it's anthology style, kind of like if you guys are watching, if you haven't seen it, if you've watched Black Mirror. Those type of things, but like sci-fi. Steve Buscemi's episode was great.
I have to check it out.
He was in it. Walter White. What's his name? Why can't I remember his name?
I know who you're talking about, though.
From Breaking Bad. His name will come to me, but his one was really good too. Rob Stark's, his was really good. It was about these people that develop the ability to read people's minds, and it was like a revolt type thing in the UK. Really, really good. A really good mind screw. All those episodes were amazing. And
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. Altered Carbon was amazing.
He got one of his starts in.
Yeah, he was
Power Rangers.
He was Zordon, right?
Well, no, I don't think he was at Zordon. He played. No, I think he was in the movie, but in the TV show, he did some of the monster voices.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I felt depressed when I finished Electric Dreams because there weren't any more. I don't normally like Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard was in the very first episode, and that episode was really good. I cannot wait till you watch it so we can talk about them.
See, I like him. It's just like apparently he's a prima donna.
Him as a person kind of sucks. He thinks humans are unclean because we all don't use baby wipes. Just so you know, that's solely what I base my judgment on. And he played Colonel Rhodes pretty terribly compared to Don Cheadle and what he did, and actually made that character fun.
Don Cheadle is like on a different level.
I know it's a very unfair comparison, but still, put
him up against anybody, and he's pretty much going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Denzel Washington.
I think actually, yes, I agree because Don can play humor. Denzel doesn't play too much humor.
I loved it.
In the Enforcer, he kind of had more humor there, but like he doesn't have like many jokes. You know what I'm saying?
I really like.
So Don Cheadle is more versatile.
Don Cheadle as Basher in Ocean's 11 was probably one of my favorite roles of him. But he was also good in like Boogie Nights and stuff like that. That final scene with him in the donut shop
where I dislike him.
Yeah, so. I can agree to that. Okay, all right. Well, let's move on since we've talked more about this. I mean.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be terrible.
Oh yeah. I just what are they trying to do with reboot? It's like, did they watch it? Did they watch the original?
Aren't the people that are in charge about our, well, I would say about our age. They should have known.
They should be. We're a little younger.
Yeah.
Listen, I would have been cool with if they just took the audio files from the original and just redid it. And like, hey, this is a reboot of Reboot, but we're doing the exact same thing. We're just making it with modern day tech.
Yeah, so it looks really good.
How cool would that have been?
I mean, back then that was groundbreaking too. That was
really and that's why I said it was the first one of its time, and it was it was the top of the line in animation. Just like that and Beast Wars and Toy Story. You gotta remember, these were made at the same time.
Right.
They were absolutely the tech of the day.
Right.
And that's and Beast Wars, they could only have two. Like the reason the crews were so small was because they could only handle 2 or 3 characters on screen at the time before their processors and crap would start burning up.
Right.
I mean, you got to realize, kids, that was the shows back then.
Yeah.
Like. And tech in general, blah 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 blah. Go ahead.
All right, let's talk about something that we haven't talked about in a while. Let's talk about Batman. Oh wait, no, Batgirl. Because we haven't had any Bat movies lately. We need another one, and Batgirl is definitely the one to do it. I'm okay with this.
Yes, and that's what I was about to say. Is out of everything, maybe except for Nightwing, this is the Bat-related film I'd want. I'm tired of Bat.
This is the great opportunity to do a female character without bastardizing a, already established character. This is an already established character with an actual pretty rich history for who she is and what happens later.
So
I want to see that scene. I want to see that scene played out. Come on.
Wait,
what? I'm talking about the change from Batgirl to Oracle.
Oh yeah,
that would be awesome.
That would be first of all, that would be a Batman movie.
So I'm fine. Okay, so listen, hear me out. You do Batgirl.
Okay.
Maybe you do a second one where she teams up, okay, with Batman. Then you do Batman, the whatever you want to title it, and it is that transition. It is. That was what? The Killing Joke, right?
Okay, all right.
One of the versions.
Idea. Let's say this idea because I want to bounce off of that because that's really good. Let me read this. So, Batgirl needs a new director. Josh Whedon has dropped out from the director slot for Batgirl. Some claim that it's due to having no story, which is crap because Batgirl is a really good character, okay? Despite her starring and appearing in numerous comics. Others claim it's due to the recent controversy surrounding him. We don't know yet. But a lot of people have popped up on Twitter and said, "Hey, it's easy to write a Batgirl story." And I'm going to jump off of Jeremy's suggestion right here. So, boom, start out. You take the recent version of her costume, which looks like you could sew it at home. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's
I think I know.
Like Google like the modern Batgirl costume, and you should be able to find it. There should be like a cover with her doing a selfie in like a bathroom. It's like purple.
Yes.
The purple
yeah.
and stuff.
Oh, that looks
so you
great.
Take that one. Yeah. So you take it, like so. And here's where you can set it. You set it after the Justice League movie. Batman should be known to the world after that movie. This girl, Commissioner Gordon's daughter, or niece, or whatever's going to be the canon, she gets inspired by seeing Batman. But now she's thinking, oh, well, he can't protect Gotham anymore. She makes her own costume. She's a trained acrobat and all this other stuff. And her Commissioner Gordon father, uncle, or whatever he's supposed to be, has put her through so many self-defense classes that she's a pretty decent martial artist. So she goes and takes on the criminal element. Well, she gets in over her head by fighting somebody higher tier, like maybe not that high in tier, somebody still kind of ridiculous, like the Riddler,
right?
Or even the Penguin, because he's shown up in her comics recently. She ends up maybe barely triumphing, or beating him, and then like maybe some of his remaining goons are coming at him at the end of the boom. Batman jumps down. Like this is the first time they've met, and he's like, "So I've heard you call yourself Batgirl." Boom! In the movie, you got your sequel, Batman and Batgirl, or whatever you want to call it, Batgirl 2. Right?
Perfect.
Then that's when they're working together. He's training her. Then she kind of develops a relationship with that Robin, who's going to leave at the end of the film or halfway through to become Nightwing. So she jumps into the apprentice role with Batman. Right there. Part 3, The Killing Joke.
And do it the way it's supposed to be done. Don't pull any punches. If you do one as like a rocky start, 2 needs to be an upbeat adventure, 3 needs to be the icing on the cake that is the darkness and misery of Gotham.
Yeah, and so
listen.
All right, then you have that.
Warner Brothers, hire us. We got this.
Yeah, I've got this for you, Warner Bros. It's easy. I've got you. Listen, and I'm telling you. Here's the thing with the way I and I'm not patting myself on the back because I'm not smart at all. But the way you do that first movie is you still have the like you could constantly make references, be like, Batman's a girl. He's like, oh no, I'm Batgirl. So you could still have your lighthearted moments because she's still trying to like stumble along, do the superhero role. And I mean, she would be a flawed character, because she's obviously not perfect. She's trying to figure this out. She's being inspired by this great hero, but she's still amazing.
Right.
So it would be like the perfect teen movie where like she's showing up and she twisted her ankle the night before kicking some dude in the face, and she's got bandages on, and she's like, cheerleader accident, and they're like, but you're not a cheerleader. And stuff like that. Like it would, like you have great humor in that, and you could have a great story. And I just love the thing that she ends up winning at the end, and then Batman still comes and meets her. Like even like he used the bat signal to call her over,
And she is she's the perfect tragic hero type thing with regards to her ending. She is very upbeat. She is very let's go with the word strong and independent. And she don't need no Batman when she starts out.
And I want to jump into that too. Is like, so at the end of The Killing Joke, right? He's captured the Joker and everything. You have an extra scene with her like starting to work out. Well, no, he does. He captures him at the end. So she show her working out and like looking online and stuff, and showing that oh well, I could still be a hero, but in a different way. And like her, like seeing video of the Huntress fighting, like on YouTube or something. Boom, you've got your Birds of Prey spinoff right there.
Yeah, they
look at that. There you go.
Two guys sitting in their basements talking about how to make DC great, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to keep the darkness of Gotham and the darkness of the DC universe, which it's not all dark, we know that, you need to be able to set those balances of dark and light. They've kind of done it really well in Marvel. They know what they're doing with their titles. Dark World, for all intents and purposes, was a pretty dark film. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Yeah, I watched.
It's a very tragic film. A lot of bad things happen, but you know, the hero still triumphs. But they can do it. There are ways to do it, and they didn't need to start off with Batman versus Superman as their establishment for the extended universe. You know, in completion, they could have done this so well if they would have started out in slow steps. And how involved is, and I don't know because I'm asking this out of ignorance, how involved is Oracle in anything that involves the Justice League later on?
Like on and off, she kind of does her own thing. She helps out Batman a lot. And
well,
then
that's
she has her Birds of Prey.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
she can work in that way if they really want to keep her in the Justice League. She can always be feeding information to Batman. Like, don't trust that Superman guy. Like, I mean, whatever. Do whatever you want to do. But
it's too late for them to do that.
No, it's not. They could just completely start over.
I'm talking about the don't trust the Superman thing because they've already shot that that round off.
No, they don't. No, you start over. You say we screwed up. We're doing this. No, you need to.
Wait. Batgirl could be the perfect reboot. Like, here's the thing: you take Batgirl as the reboot, right? You pull bits and pieces from the other movies that you want and say, they're not really canon. But this is based off, here's what is canon now, based off those films. Yeah, Metropolis did get destroyed. Superman did end up killing Zod, but he didn't have that weird freak out at the end. Doomsday didn't happen.
Zod's Day.
Zod's Day didn't happen. Like, you could do it. You could do like a soft reboot. There's your soft reboot right there. She's like, just show her with her wall, like patterned with all these superhero things. And her dad pulling it off. He's like, half this crap is, half these articles is fake news, right? She's like, well, yeah, they inspire me or whatever.
Can you still hear me?
There you go. There's your soft reboot. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I may have been like in tangent mode and just not paying attention.
No, it's fine. This we got it for the show, but the stream was messed up, so we should be good now.
Oh.
All right. So do that. That would be a great idea. Aside from the controversy of losing a director, they could recover from this.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and they talk about in this current era, the Killing Joke would have the whole violence against women thing going on.
Yeah.
Remember the controversy about the one comic where he painted a smile on her face and stuff? But here's the counterpoint. But then, if people are big in diversity, you show the sweet, strong girl that gets handicapped and overcoming that difficulty. And I mean, like, she got handicapped in probably the most tragic way possible.
Yeah.
A psychotic clown shoots her and then cover the ears, parents, strips her, takes photographs of it to show her naked father. I don't know if you've watched The Killing Joke or read it, but it is dark. Like, it is rated R dark.
And I'm not saying they need to take it to that extreme. The obviously sensitivity and also trying to bring it into what it needs to be for the rating. But yeah, and there's things you're gonna have to fudge and work with. But that's the point, though. They have all this material. They could be doing so much better. And it's not that I want to hate on DC. I want DC to be good because competition breeds excellence. If Marvel has something to compete with and trying to steal audience from DC, and DC likewise, then you make better movies.
And see, here's the thing: is that Marvel at this point absolutely needs to go darker.
Marvel needs to, and I think with Infinity Wars, I'm hoping that's what we get.
Yeah, there has to be a point where they're like, okay, the joke, like there's got to be a section in Infinity War, maybe towards the end, where they have to like shoo out the clowns, so to speak, and be like, okay, listen, we are literally in the corner here.
Yeah. With
no resource, we no longer have S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't have, potentially not planet Earth backing us up.
Well, supposedly we still have S.H.I.E.L.D. They're just operating in secret.
I'm just saying that like they've lost all their resources. Like, Iron Man doesn't have 10,000 armors anymore. Thor doesn't have the Warriors of Asgard that he can pull. We've already seen that Hulk gets slapped down at least one point.
Yeah.
So it has to be. They have to be at their darkest moment here.
And that was the thing. That was what they were trying to drive home too, saying, "Hey, the Avengers, as you know them, won't come out on the other side the same way they were." They have already said that, and we have no idea what kind of cliffhanger Infinity Wars is going to bring us. But aren't sure by the time we're done with the sequel, which comes out, what, the year after? Does it come out next year?
I think so.
That we're going to lose some people. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. There needs to be a lasting impact on the universe. Otherwise, it's kind of meaningless, because then you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Right. By doing that, you give your other characters some PTSD to deal with in their own ways, too, and it adds more character to the characters, you know?
And I'd like to see, like, I would like to see, like, another PTSD story. They kind of touched in Iron Man 3, but not to the extent that I thought that they were going to go with.
He was like more of a fanatical PTSD survivor, and it was good because it showed you a good side of the, well, not a good side, but a good deal of the side of combat fatigue and stuff like that, and what it can do to a person, which was great. That's the kind of thing that personally I would like to be known. It's something that happens, but yeah, they could do it in different ways, and they can do it to show, and that's the thing too, is it shows that people deal with things in different ways, you know?
Right. Like he just dived into his work, and it would be like interesting to see.
I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, I love Hawkeye, but man, do you know how devastated Natasha would be if he died?
Yeah.
Knowing that they had to risk it all, and he still has his family hidden, you know? And now she feels like she has to be responsible and go tell her.
What happened. Like they still haven't done it for, like, when Quicksilver saved. Well, he kind of did in Civil War. He went and bailed out Wanda because he owed her brother.
Right. What Marvel's been doing. Marvel's been doing great things, making leaps and bounds in what content they deliver and how they deliver it. But
here's the thing. So you were talking about earlier, the Fantastic Four had to bring them in.
Right.
They get lost in space. Oh, wait. We find them in, they find them in space. I mean, they could have done that with Guardians, but, like, they're finally making them back either through the dimensions or back to Earth.
Right.
You know? And then, like, it could have been, for all we know, is a failed spaceship launch, an undercover spaceship launch, as opposed to them being known as superheroes yet. And so now you have 4 other people to add to the arsenal, because, especially if it's modern Aaron thing, who's almost as strong as, he's not as durable and doesn't have the stamina.
Right.
Which it's funny, in the original comics, Spider-Man was as strong or a little stronger than the Thing when they first both debuted.
Right.
The Thing was just more durable.
Gotcha. All right.
So I'm sorry. There's plenty of ways to do this.
Yeah, and we should eventually write out some, do another one of those how to fix it or how to make it better in Marvel's case. But
man, I would like, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but I'd love to see that Batgirl movie that you just described.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It feels like it'd be such a fun movie.
Right. All right. Let's go ahead and do this this video game stuff, so we can go play video games. I really need to change that one again. All right, let me change this picture. That's a neat little picture. The Outbreak event is coming to Rainbow Six Siege on March 6th, so next week. Can't wait for this. It's going to be really neat. They're going to have a lot of cool features in there, including the single player mode, or not single player, but a co-op campaign type thing, which is really neat. It's going to be a 3-man squad picked from a select number of operators, specifically picked for the situations that are going to be handled in the game. Certain operators don't make sense, like being able to breach as thermite doesn't really make sense when you're trying to keep zombies out. It's a zombie type thing, by the way. Spoilers. It's going to take place in... Jaeger. Jaeger's one that denies grenade explosions. None of the enemies have grenades because they're zombies. So that's an unnecessary thing. The whole thing is going to take place in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, where a lost Russian space capsule has crash-landed. Operators need to collect the evidence, save some scientists to try and figure out what's going on, and save the day. It's really neat. There's a bunch of cutscenes, including we get to see what Ash looks like with her hair down, which is one of the FBI operators, and the same thing with Thermite. The characters that you can't play are still involved in the story, even though you can't play as them. One or two of them actually appear in the game as people you need to rescue or something like that, who have gone off and gotten into a situation. So that's kind of neat too. But it's a lot of defense building. Tachanka, the Lord himself, if anybody in that realm knows that character, as he's referred to affectionately by the player base, he will be involved, which is awesome because he has a turret that he can deploy, and man, does it mow down some zombies. That'll all launch on March 6th, along with two new characters, two offensive characters, which is really interesting. One of them uses a drone that uses some kind of scanning technology that tells you when people aren't moving around in the building, which is really cool. So it kind of gives people basically a wall hack without actually cheating. And the other is going to be like a combat stamina boost, where you'll take less damage and your fire will be a lot more accurate for a few seconds. And it's something that everybody, when that character's picked, everybody starts with the boost. It's just a matter of when she activates it. So it's like an inert injection before everything pops off. So if they know they're going to make a big push and they need the extra health, she can pop it off and they rush in and they take out everything. So it's really cool, interesting ideas, and I'm assuming with this being the first of this season and having two offensive operators, that somewhere down the line we're going to actually only get two defensive operators. They're also not of the same nationality, which is the first time this has happened. They've usually been announcing in pairs an offensive and defensive operator for each of the seasons. So now we're getting two operators for this event that are directly related to the story, kinda, because they're both they both have to do with containment and virus type stuff. Okay.
So is this just like an event that if you own the game you can play, or is this one that you have to buy into because they're doing all this extra stuff?
Like we reported last week or 2 weeks ago in the story, Ubisoft is really cutting back on the things they charge you for, and they have stated for Rainbow Six they will never charge for an expansion piece. They're also taking a look at how you unlock operators. One of the big changes is when you unlock a new operator, you no longer have to pay to unlock the individual weapon sights and barrel attachments and stuff like that and grips. Now when you unlock an operator, that's all unlocked. So that cuts out, let's see, each attachment's about anywhere from 150 to 300. So that's a lot, 3 to 4 different sights, 2 or 3 hand grips, and 3 to 4 muzzle attachments that you're not paying for anymore. So that's actually cutting out some of the stuff you're spending, and it's going to only be used now for unlocking characters and unlocking weapon skins that don't really change the basis of the game. So if you want to do that, then you spend the points on that, but all that can be earned through playing the game, unlike our next story. So it's really neat. The event will run for 4 weeks starting on the 6th. So March 6th through, it should be April.
That is next Tuesday, people.
Next Tuesday through
it always sucks when
April
they do
3rd.
These things. I know no matter what, for it's going to run in the middle of the week. But I hate when games I play. I don't play Rainbow Six, but I just feel for certain people that it starts on Tuesday. It's like most people work on Tuesday. You're not working this Tuesday though, so you'll be able to play it.
Yeah, I'm not working Tuesday, but I work Wednesday, Thursday. So
but you'll be able to play it all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. If I can tear myself away from Breath of the Wild. So.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, that's all I got to say on that. We can go ahead and hit the next thing so we can finish this up here.
Yeah, so you can go ahead.
We've run long. Metal Gear Survive charges players for more character slots, save slots, which, wow, talk about the year of the microtransactions. We're kicking it off hot and heavy with Metal Gear Survive because they didn't learn anything from the EA debacle.
And the thing is, with before we go into this, Metal Gear Survive already started into negative with people. you know?
Yeah.
Just because like Konami is Konami. So then then they do this other stuff and just keep digging themselves deep. But go ahead, you can read it.
All right, let's see. One reason why Metal Gear Survive has been criticized is due to its heavy use of microtransactions, which some costing as much as $50 at launch. Mind you, it's a $49 or $39 game, I think. Now that not that makes any better, but now that fans actually have their hands on the game, it's been discovered that microtransactions extend beyond just performance boosters, but are actually required if anyone wants to make new characters without deleting their old one. And I know how you are. I have, personally, 4 different slots of the Division characters that I play, and I actually have been playing 3 of them regularly. I use one as a mule. Actually, 2 of them as a mule for gear. One is a bench test for a new gear set, and the main one that I use all the time when I play with groups and stuff or need to rush through stuff.
Yeah, now I traditionally, with multiplayer games, I usually try to stick with one character because that's my guy. That's the representation of me in the game. Now, in other games, I will have multiple save slots because I want to go back and do something else, or a game that has a bunch of decisions, like a Fallout game, or one that glints a lot like a Fallout game. Or I guess I should just say Obsidian in general. Or Bethesda, I'm sorry. Bethesda in general.
Right.
I do keep a ton of save slots because I want to go back and like try this route or whatever. So while online like this game is, I probably would only have 1 or 2 different saves. Depending on like the build out of the characters. Like if you with Division and some other things, you just swap out the weapons and you change what type of character you're playing as, really, right?
Right.
If I remember.
Yeah, gear and weapons change.
Yeah, with WoW, it's like, okay, well, this one character is a tank, and it's your paladin tank. This other one, and your Pandarian paladin tank. Then you have your horde orc mage. So you would have to have multiple character slots.
Right.
So with Survive, I'm assuming that there's only one gameplay type of character, correct? You've played the beta.
I played the beta a little bit, yeah. As far as I know, there's only one type of character. I think it's kind of similar. I'm not sure because I didn't get too deep into it.
At the very least, give your players at least 1 or 2 slots, and then make them pay for anything beyond that.
That game is That game is painful too. One of the guys at work has it. Mm-hmm. He said that it takes 3 hours real time to grow food. They made a Facebook game for a console.
Oh, I'm sure you could pay coins to speed it up.
Well, it has to do with you recruiting survivors and upgrading that eventually, but 3 hours he has to wait in between doing missions because otherwise he dies halfway through of hunger. How terrible is that? I bet you can only grow one at a time, and you can only you have to collect it before it'll grow another one too. Oh,
I bet you it spoils too really fast if you don't have time to collect it. Okay, so let's read the rest of this.
All right, are you telling me to make a new character and effectively a new save game in Metal Gear Survive? The players either have to delete their existing avatar or pay 1,000 SV coins. SV coins are the in-game currency that can be purchased with real-world money in Metal Gear Survive. To get 1,000 of them, the players will have to shell out $10. Making players pay for additional characters is not entirely unheard of in the gaming industry, particularly in the MMO space. But considering the significant public backlash Metal Gear Survive has already experienced, it seems like it could just drum up more controversy for the game. And that's a no-brainer. I mean, it's really bad.
Here's the thing. So, like, and I can understand you'd be like, okay, at the beginning, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. At the beginning, you give people 2 or 3 save slots for free. Once you have the fan base there and they're playing your game and they're enjoying your game, you say, okay, guys, to maintain server costs, we're going to have to, like, any additional save spaces, but after those 3, we're going to charge you for. And if your fans are there and they're liking your product, they're going to say, okay, we'll do that.
Meanwhile,
but you've already given them the option to keep. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Good Guy Blizzard. Have you heard about that? I haven't put it in there yet, but
no.
I can't remember if we mentioned it in the notes when I was talking about it, but since they've announced the Allied races, They said they're actually adding 3 or 4 more character slots to each server. Because they know you're gonna make these other characters.
Exactly right. So Blizzard again is doing it right in the MMO world, and that's one of the reasons the thing succeeds. This is not going to last long.
Yeah,
because of reasons like this. And I'm not saying I'm okay with charging for extra slots after giving the first 3, but this is how you play that greed game. You got to be less obvious with it.
Right. You can't
especially when all the data's out there about how many people are playing right now. Look on Steam, you can easily surmise based off of, only 15 people are playing right now. Well, then obviously your server costs aren't that high.
Right. All right.
I mean, plenty of I'm sorry to keep going on this, but plenty of businesses, when they're getting their foot in the door, will operate at a negative. They will be in the red for a while until they get into the black because they've established their base.
Well, that's like we always talk about. Consoles are always the loss leader. They don't make the money. The money's in the software sales, not that. So, all right. Let's see. If that's true, Metal Gear Survive launched with a budget price, and that may justify the heavy use of microtransactions.
Justification of it.
It may justify the heavy use of microtransactions in the game to some, but others will just add this to the reasons for not supporting the game. Not to mention the fact that they really screwed what's his face over. Metal Gear Survive was already fighting an uphill battle, and so one would have thought Konami would wanted the. So
basically, what we said that you would avoid giving more people the reason not to buy the game because it takes once I say I'm not going to buy a game, it's a lot of work for somebody to convince me to buy a game. Jeremy's had this fight with me tons of times. It takes years because I am a vindictive, bitter old man.
I've had that collector's edition of Overwatch for so long. I've gotten you to build your computer, and you never play it.
I don't have Overwatch here on my PC. I've got it on my.
You got it on what? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you over the console peasantness. No.
Yeah, holler when you finally get games ported to your PC after years. 4 years later.
Fans have been criticizing Metal Gear Survive well before its launch, bombing its announcement trailer with the dislikes and expressing their frustration on forums. Didn't they premiere the Metal Gear Survive during a sporting event too?
I think so.
I seem to remember that. It's the first Metal Gear game since Konami fired series creator Hideo Kojima. Wish I would have seen his name earlier so I could have remembered it. Not that I forgot it, but you know what I mean. I was searching for it and I couldn't remember it. And that, combined with its departure from the series norms, has not sat well with the many members of the community. Now, see, I'm okay, and I've heard other developing things where I wouldn't be okay with what's going on, but I'm okay with what they're doing as far as making this a type of game that's in that kind of vein, but not really a Metal Gear game. And then I found out some other information, and I was like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't have done this. If it were just a zombie survival game and by any other name and didn't include anything from the Metal Gear series, I'd say that it's actually a really good competition for something like, what's the one on the Xbox? The zombie survival one that was really good. You build up your place, and you actually go out on missions with people to go get stuff. It's getting a sequel. State of Decay. State of Decay.
Oh!
It is actually a very...
on the Xbox One?
Huh? Yeah, Xbox and PC, I think. It's a Microsoft...
like the original Xbox?
Yeah, no, Xbox... It was Xbox One. It was only a few years ago. But it came out on PC too, because I think it's on Steam. They ported it over to the PC. It's not on PlayStation. I think it's a Microsoft exclusive title.
Oh,
yeah,
first released on the 360.
Oh, it was on the 360? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah,
those wild and crazy days. Hey, everybody who's watching, just so you know, the stream keeps bouncing in and out. We're having really bad windstorms out here. So my connection with Mitch and the recording look great, but every now and then the connection out to the streams flakes out. So thanks for sticking around for those that have. But anyways, I know it's so late in the show, and it's been doing it for the last 15, 20 minutes.
I just put the connection too, because my wife said every time the wind picks up, the stream starts messing up. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why we're having so much trouble today.
Right. So anyway, so it's a great idea, and it would be a perfect competition for State of Decay in its current form if it didn't include anything from Metal Gear. If it used just the system of Metal Gear as a framework, then I think it's a perfect game, and if they would have just not traded on the Metal Gear name, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But because they traded on the name, they set a certain level of expectation, and when they fire the creator, of course people are going to be...
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. So, yeah, and here's the thing. They had the gameplay. I absolutely love Final
Fantasy's trash. You're talking about
Final Fantasy, but I also love the Metal Gear Solid 5.
The system itself, it works great. It is a great combat system.
Well, an open world stealth game, and then you throw in zombies. How is that not brilliant? Like, just have hordes of zombies out there, and you can't just go through brute force them like you can in Dead Rising. So stealth around them, or make them a different type of zombie. Or like what was the Dying Light, which was kind of a stealth parkour game,
which they're still developing stuff for.
Yeah, and that's a great game, and they are still developing stuff. Just like Jeremy said, and I parroted. You could have done. There's a ton of stuff you could do with those game mechanics. You just don't say. You say, okay, well, this is inspired by Metal Gear Solid or whatever. And this isn't the first time that they've really deviated from the Metal Gear Solid established franchise, like Metal Gear Revengeance was. I mean, the thing is, it works in its own way. It's insane.
The R is for Raiden or whatever his name was. Robot Raiden.
It was Jack.
Jack, whatever. That's not what they call it in Metal Gear Solid 2.
I think that's what. No, I thought that's what they. I thought that was what her nickname for it was or something. That was his code name.
And that's one of the most upsetting things they did with Metal Gear Solid 2. One game that I was expecting to play as Snake again in that 3D environment, and what do? I spend most of the time playing as that idiot. So,
I mean, he came back and he became cool later. So, kind of. So turned him into a breakdancing.
A breakdancing what?
Ninja Cyborg.
Oh, Ninja Cyborg. All right. Now that Metal Gear Survive is out, it's been making headlines for its heavy use of microtransactions and for weird rules in its EULA, E-U-L-A, End User License Agreement, including a stipulation that players can't date people they meet in-game. Are you serious? Holy crap. Whether or not the community
I'm nodding my head for the listeners.
Whether or not the community is able to look past these controversies and give this game a chance remains to be seen. That's a lot. I don't know. No, wait. Yeah, sure. The Eastern Seaboard's sucked in with windstorms this morning.
It's absolutely unreal, people. I was out there. It was snowing this morning. Then it started raining, and this wind. This is like near hurricane level winds at times.
Yeah.
60 mile per hour wind. Trying to walk through that, and it's cold wind. It was awful, unreal.
All right, well let's get out of here so we can stop this torture of our streams breaking up. The videos are going to be screwed up as it is. Thanks for listening, and thanks for you guys who show up in the chat room all the time and chat with us. We greatly appreciate it. Please leave us feedback on our show wherever you get it from, and don't forget to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/stasisgeek. One of these days I'm going to change that, or I'm going to make a URL on our page that says stasisgeek.com/Patreon. Because they all should be like that. Go ahead, you got it.
You can contact us at ECGcast on Twitter, at our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also, visit our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com/Patreon. No, scratch that last part. That's STASISGEEK.com. Or post a comment on our video, and we will conduct some microtransactions to read it. You'll have to pay us $1 to read your comments.
Wait, $1?
Yes.
We're gonna have to pay them $1?
No, they pay us $1. Shh.
Wolf Slayer from Sea of Thieves. One of my buddies said, "Sorry, Jeremy, looks like we can't date in game or in that game." Yeah, oh darn.
No, they just said.
Since you're such a looker, man. Yeah. So the reason why we didn't have a show last week was because we spent all weekend streaming Sea of Thieves, and we will probably do some more of that here after the show if I can keep a stable internet connection. We'll see.
At the very least, we'll probably record it.
Yeah, at least we'll record it, and I'll dump it on YouTube so we have it uploaded there, and it'll be a really good quality because that game is really good quality. Hey, great! Patreon.com/StasisGeek. All right. Anyways, we'll be back next week. Until then, stay geeky.